The light them done.
Good day. Please note this is Dean White, blind visionary, the host of the Real Talk podcast, where everyone issues seriously matters. And as you know, when you come to this channel, it's all about facts, nothing fictional here. So please remember to like, share, and subscribe. But before we get into our discussion, guys, let's have a word of prayer. Holy, wonderful, and compassionate Father, Lord God of hosts, thank you for life. Thank you for everything you have done for us so far and what you continue to do. Forgive us of our sins, transgressions, and iniquities against you. In the mighty name of your Son, Jesus Christ, who is our Lord and soon coming King, we pray. Amen. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Listen, I am someone who has been through a lot of struggles. I have been someone who lived on the street and everything. Throughout my life, I have tried my best to elevate myself. Okay? Nadine, you didn't close by the door? Give me a minute, guys. Just a minute. Minute. Give me a minute. 1 minute, guys. So, as I was saying, guys, I have been someone whom, from the day I was born, I made every effort to elevate myself out of the situation that I was in. And I was in a situation that was not something that I liked. I believed to myself that I should have been born in a rich family. When you are young as children and you realize that you see persons around you that has things that seems to be better off than you, persons that seems to have everything together, you know, and their life seems like everything is good. As children, you tend to say, "Whoa, I wish I had that person's life," you know. I wish I was born in that family. You think to yourself that you do not like the family that you, right, are in, or you were in, you know. I found myself as a child saying that I was born in a rich family. I found myself growing up as a child saying I am dying to get big. I am dying to go on my own. I am dying to have my own woman. I am dying to have my own house. I am dying to pay my own bills, not knowing how fortunate I was to be a child having someone doing that for me. But at the same time, I was also ambitious enough to tell myself that I was going to obtain all these things for myself. Okay? I was going to do what I need to do for myself. I wasn't going to depend on any parent to provide a roof over my head. I was not going to depend on any parent to have me in their place and disrespect me and my wife or my woman and children. It was something that I think hard about. I considered on a daily basis, and I tell myself that I was not going to allow to happen to me. No, you have to understand. Growing up, I believed to myself that I can only count on myself. I can only trust myself, and only me or myself alone will not fail myself. Now, understand, I am not perfect, but from a young age, I realized to myself that when you want something and you have to ask someone for it, when they said no, you will not get it. And this was something that I learned early in life. When I am at home as a child growing up, Christmas was never a time of celebration for me. Most of the time, I was not even at home when it was Christmas time. Because when we see Christmas or Christmas comes, you will see a small Christmas tree on the veranda and some decorations and light is plugged in, but that was all. Okay, it wasn't a thing where gifts would be bought and put there and everything like that. I did not experience that sort of Christmas. It wasn't a Christmas that I know 6 or 5 different meat would be prepared and you would just take a dish and go around and put what you want on that dish, you know, and sit down and eat to your heart content and lie down on the ground and say, whoa, I am full. That wasn't it. Christmas was never that way for me growing up as a child. And to make matters worse, I grow so accustomed to not receiving anything that even when I started my own family, it was not a special day for me, but I tried to make it a special day for others, such as my children and wife. Okay? No, I must say, guys, my ambition caused me to think in a manner that was different from others. I acted more mature for my age. I seemed more mature for my age. And even when I was suffering, even when I even did not have any food, many times I did not allow persons to know what I was going through. I would be trying my best to do what is necessary to survive. And That was the reason for me getting into all the various jobs that I took on growing up. There was a point in my life when I had to sickle for the smell of other person's meal as my dinner, knowing to myself and giving myself a image that I would telegraph to my brains of me sitting down and eating the food that I smell the person's cooking. I would have shown myself an image of me sitting around the table with, my fork in hand, eating all this oxtail and these pork leg and all that, with my fruit cake, you know, with my nice cup of carrot juice and so on. No, not saying that when I was home we did not eat well. Yes, we ate well when we were at home. But I am just saying that when Christmas comes around, it wasn't a celebration like some family that I know. You understand? When I lived on the street, I wasn't eating well. I was lacked calcium, did not drink milk, a lot of things, right? I lacked. And as I say, I had to settle for scents, smells of person's meal and give myself that mental picture of enjoying that meal myself in order to be comfortable. Knowing that when I was hungry, it was bulla and banana. Okay. I was struggling at one point and I felt sorry for females that treated me with love and kindness and gave me their body because at times when I look within myself, I was suffering so much that I did not have anything to give them. I was working, and even though I was working, I could not afford simple things that I need to survive. I could not afford groceries that I need to purchase to make sure that I was eating properly. It was so messed up. Even though I was working, I had to be stealing to make ends meet. And let me tell you something, guys. You might not believe it, but I do not think I was the only one going through this situation because from time to time while working, instead of doing our job to the best of our ability, not taking any bribes, we had to be taking bribes, turning our heads the other way, and acting as if we were blind in order to obtain something extra because the pay that we received could do nothing for us, and we were working people. I was a working man. I was working anywhere from 8 to 16 to 24 or 36 hours. And even though I was working all these hours, at the end of the day, all I had was money to send back myself to work. When I trust a lunch, the money that I was supposed to send back myself to work with would be short. I had to struggle, and I had to burn my belly, right? And make sacrifice to buy a hot plate. And after buying that hot plate, I had to make sacrifices again to make sure that when I received my pay, I took something out of it and run to the wholesale and buy some brown rice, some butter, some lasco, some seasoning, a bottle of oil, and all these things to put in my locker. I had to also make sure that I put some mackerel or some bully beef or something like that in my locker, so that while I was on the people them work, I did not starve. At one point, I remember feeling envy for some female co-workers of mine. And let me tell you what was happening to me, guys. Let me tell you what was happening to me. I was on the premises working. We all worked at the same place. And this compound or property served lunch. And they had many different meats and so on in the canteen. And they were pricey. And these females, whom was also my co-worker and also employees of the place that we were working, would just walk into that lunchroom and they would order anything they wanted, and they would come out with it and sit down and eat, or they would stay in that lunchroom and they were eating their chicken, their oxtail, their pork, and everything. And I must say, I could not go into that lunchroom and order one of those lunch, due to the fact that if I ordered any of those lunch, I would not have enough money to purchase anything for the other 2 days. And I was so envious of some of these female co-workers, and I did not think why they were able to do this. When I sit back and look now and remember that these persons were female that had other male and more than one different sex partners in their pocket or corner. So they were able to spend their money any and any way because they were persons taking care of them. And I was not in that situation. And I would not want to be in that situation where a man was taking care of me. No way, shape, or form. I must tell you that from time to time, we worked, and while working, even when we finished at 36 hours, it was as if we did nothing. Where did my money go? You would ask. I am going to tell you something. At one point, when I collected the money that I worked for, there was deduction of taxes. After deduction of taxes, there was a point when loans that I borrowed also had to be deducted. And these loans that I borrowed were loans to purchase food. And even though I borrowed the loans to purchase food, I was still not eating properly. I was still unable to sustain myself financially, even though I was working. I was working, and even though I was working, I was barely able to contribute to my father's phone bill or barely able to contribute to the light bill. And at the same time, I had female that was there expecting to receive something from me because I was having sexual intercourse with them. I must tell you that things did not get easier because the meager amount that I was working was not seen. And when I said seen, working $8 an hour, $10 an hour, $12 an hour, you understand, wasn't great, right? And at the same time, after working that small amount, taxes deducted from it, loan is deducted from it, persons that you owed money has to get their money, uniform payment had to be deducted from it, and apart from uniform payment, from time to time, some form of clothing had to be purchased. So when we get the pay and we are say yes, we can do something. We have to purchase some underpants or some marina or some t-shirt, you know, and there was nothing left. And we had to make sure that we save money to go back to work for the following 2 weeks. And sometime when we save that money for the following 2 weeks, because of things that came up, we end up have to spend some of that money. So we had to borrow back money. And that was where the loans came in. While in this state and situation, I realized to myself that I couldn't continue this way. My father was getting on my nerves. I wanted to be the master of my own destiny. The job that I had wasn't paying enough. I worked as a gardener. That wasn't paying enough. No matter what the job was, I wasn't earning enough. And thinking to myself, I would be in this hand-to-mouth situation until the day I die. I remember while growing up, I would walk from downtown Kingston straight up Slipe Road, and then head on to um, Old Oak Road. And I would look for every car mart. And I would go into these car mart and look at all the beautiful cars. And At the time, they used to write the prices on the windshield. And when I look at the prices of these cars, I used to sit down and imagine that I was driving these cars. I used to tell myself that this was the one that I was going to have, or I was going to have those two, and so on. And as a boy growing up, I must tell you, I used to just sit down for hours at car mats, just looking at the vehicles and telling myself that I was going to drive that. And sometimes I used to picture myself in those vehicles driving, and I was blazing, burning rubber when I see these vehicles. There was time when persons used to have to come out and tell me to leave the car mart. Okay? There was a time in my life while growing up when, guys, oh my, sometimes to tell you the truth, guys, to really open my mouth and speak about certain things, it's very hard. You know, it's a true you not even know people. Yo, I can say thank God for the stage in life that I am now at. I remember the days when I live on the street, guys. And as I told you, Saint was all I had to live by. There was tasties, and I like lived on patties. If I get any money, I could buy patty. But when it came to KFC, I could not purchase any. When it come to Popeyes, could not purchase any. When it come to Bullseye, could not purchase any. Island Grill, no way, no how. I could not go to Devon House to buy an ice cream, and I could not even go into Mother's to order an ice cream. All these things were out of my reach. And I remember at one point, I was so hungry and destitute and starving, and I needed to eat a piece of KFC chicken to feel as if I was alive, because I must tell you that when I walked past the KFC, it was so punishing to me to smell the chicken, to the point where I used to make sure that if I know there was a KFC right there, I did not go that direction. And guys, I remember I went to Halfway Tree, and there is a KFC on Concern Spring Road coming down into Halfway Tree. And it's the JPS was close by. And over on the other side, I think there is Tropical Plaza and some other plazas. And that KFC, I must tell you, say, I remember one day when the hungry clawed me. Seriously, when the hungry clawed me. Seeing? I went to the KFC. And when I went to the KFC, right, I looked through the glass. And when I looked through the glass and I see everybody eating their chicken, and the people them was eating them chicken and them fries and them juice and all of that, And I remember as a youth living on the street, I suffer and I struggle. I knock the glass couple times, well, and when me knock the glass and the people them look up, they see who I knock the glass, me the pan. Beg your peace now. Beg your peace now. Beg your peace now. On a level, that was me. Beg your peace now. Some of the people hold down them head back in them box and not pay me no mind. See? I remember doing that for hours for one day. And I was there from about 11 o'clock. And about after 4 going at 5 o'clock, a man come out with a piece of chicken in a box and give the piece of chicken to me. Just give me the box with the piece of chicken. And let me tell you these people, it was as if the man hand me heaven. It's the nicest piece of chicken I have ever eaten. The way how me shatter things. Me not eat no chicken for this while. Me not eat no food. Yo, people, it is very, very, sometimes when I remember my life, I must tell you, when the man give me the piece of chicken, it's like the man gave me $1 million with that one piece of chicken. I remember when I got that piece of chicken, see, and I sat down because the way I'm glad for the chicken, you know. I see him place on the side. Beside the place me hitch up, you know, lean up and I eat the chicken and the security come out. And the security look at me and tell me, leave the place, man, leave the place. And when the security said that, me I said, John, no. What are you here go on, so? The man no want me get no food. Me get one piece of chicken and he's like, him grudge me for the piece of chicken. Because at that time, I lived on the street, guys, and I did not even have anything. There was nothing for me to take out of my pocket and say, I'm going to buy a piece of chicken for myself. Me have to beg it. There was no one that was going to say, listen, all right, since you want a piece of chicken, come in at the KFC with me. And them carry me in and say, all right, sell me a 2-piece and give me that. No, I was not that fortunate. You understand? And even when I was working, when I grabbed my bucket and I grabbed my cloth or my shamai, right? The first little change me have to take the first little change, go buy a Amaral. Because when me don't wash the people them car, they did not want to pay me because according to them, their tire was not black and pretty. So they wanted to give me anything that they feel like, which was bare silver. So because of that, I made sure I buy a Hamaral. And when me done wash them car, me spray up the tire them and make the tire them black and pretty. And even when me did that, I still had problem collecting my money. Sometimes them drive off with the money and tell me, so them never tell me for wash them car. Sometimes the people them say, yeah man, wash it man. When me come out, the deal with you, and when them come out, them go in at them vehicle and them start it, wind up them glass and move left me. And I was just trying to earn an honest living to sustain myself as a youth living on the street. I can sit here and talk, and tell you guys what I am telling you because I have lived the real life. I am not talking fiction, meaning not a fairy tale right now. As me I talk to you, I have been there, right? I am not where I am at right now because really and truly, I did not try to make every effort. But I must tell you that I did what I had to do. And even though I was willing to do what I needed to do to live, I did not go down a boogerman route. I did not go down certain route that I see some people going down. No one I allowed to use me in certain manner. No way, shape, or form. No one was able to push me through any window. Figure broke nobody place. Not at all. I did not go any of that route. And I had my pride. But even though we have our pride, at times, let me tell you something, as a youth living on the street, you have to put on that more time. And when I say put on that, you have to put on that and beg. You have to open your mouth and beg. Sometimes when the hungry lick you and tears are run down your eye, all you have to do is beg. And let me tell you this, sometimes you end up a beg all one people, two, three times, you beg the same somebody and the people them are going to say, I'm not just give $10, I'm not just give $5, I'm not just give $1. And you have to say, boy, I have to tell you the truth, it can't buy when I want it to buy. And even though you tell them that, them tell you, say, I don't have no more. You have to move on. But the fact still remains that because I was someone who was living on the street, I had to either hustle or beg. I refuse to be a pest or a burden to anyone while living on the street. I stole a person's bottle, right? I went over to my house and take away my father's bicycle. And after taking away the bicycle and taking it down to the country, somebody take the bicycle from me. So me take it from my father, somebody take it from me. And at the same time, when him take it from me, he want beat me up. Make me know say not say nothing to him. I must tell you, while coming up, after being through certain things, my heart started getting very cold and hard. And because of persons who continue to treat me with love and compassion, I did not lose my humanity. Really did not lose my humanity. There was persons that really, even though I was suffering or I was living on the street and I was struggling, the Lord did not allow me to really go down to rock bottom, in the sense that I was going to eat out of any garbage bin. Never had the Lord brought me to that level. I have seen persons living on the street, going into bin, taking out steel things, and eating them. But I have never had to do that. Never had to do that, because no matter what, I had my pride that tells me, listen me, no care how you struggle or you suffer, find another way out. You don't need to go that route. You don't need to be into that situation. Germs going to kill you if you ever do that. And the devil has said, and how it not kill them. And yet still, I was like, we are not all the same. What works for them might not work for me. Some of them are gays. Some of them are fish. Some of them are give up them rump. And they are doing it. But me no have to do it. Me not do it. And me not go follow them, because they might lucky than me. There were situations where, let me tell you this. You see, one time, me do make enough money and say me want buy a food. Me have to drop back in a my shell and say, I idiot. You can't spend so much money buy a food, my youth. You better you buy a sofa, and bounce that now, and lock the rest of that money there so tomorrow you can buy something again. Because here what if you spend the whole of that right now and buy your food, tomorrow when hungry will lick you, what you gonna do? I am here presently, and when I look back at my life, when I look back at where I'm coming from and where I'm at and what I am able to accomplish, because I did not forget my God. I did not forget that He gives life to every man, woman, and child. I did not forget that He was always by my side. I did not forget that life is ordained by Him. Let me tell you something, people. You guys don't know, but there was a time when I lived in the sea. I lived in the sea because if I did not stay in that sea water, whenever time I came out and was on the shore, all I could feel was hungry. Hunger was the only thing I could feel. I lived in that sea water and I continued to keep my mind contented and of everything. And even when I was just a boy living on the street, trying to make myself contented, persons would steal the one suit of clothes when I have, or them would thief the one pair of shoes when I have. Me have to start walk barefoot on the street at Kingston. Seriously, me have to start foot it barefoot and the tar hot. Because I left my clothes and my shoes at a point and when I came back they were gone. Is what me a swimming and me have to keep on. And when me a keep on that and people see me a come through the town and I beg, them do like them a try say, oh, go from here so. Move from here so because to them is like them a try to say, boy me a scabby or me a scavenger. But the truth about it is somebody steal me clothes. Somebody steal me shoes. What am I going to do? There were times when really and truly, guys, yo, I I have been there and I have struggled. I have worked for the man and I have not achieved what I should have. I have been in relationship with females that at times after intercourse I am crying inside because in my heart I am saying, what this girl I do with me? Why this girl give me her body? Because I have nothing to give her except a stiff anaconda. And I was thinking to myself, oh, is it benefiting her? I sat down and think at times. And when I look back and think about some situations and some females that really, really treated me with the love and respect for a man with nothing, you know, and they stood by and I recognize and realize that they did not intend to leave me for any reason whatsoever. I felt so ashamed that I left the relationship. I took away myself. They did not ask me for anything. They were not pressuring me. But when I look into myself and my conscience said to me, you are with this young lady. You're not able to buy her a food. You're not able to buy her a suit of clothes. You're not able to buy her soap to wash her private. You're not able. What are you for? I must say, I feel ashamed. And I took away myself. And many of the time, I was working. I was working so much that when I think that I was going to get paid, and when I get paid, I was going to do this and do that. And I started to subtract what fare was going to cost, what lunch was going to cost, what something for breakfast was going to cost, what rent was going to cost, what the fact said me now have no furniture, so me I go down a warehouse, go pay down for one little sitting was going to cost. Me say, guys, I remember, when I had no furniture whatsoever, except one bed, and the bed that I had no mattress. I had a big thick mat on the bed, and it's just a mat I had on the bed, And my father put that bed in the corner of the room, right? Now my father had two beds around the room there. Two of them had mattress, but my bed was the only one without mattress. It's a mat me have on my bed. See? And the man paid that no mind. I had to sleep on that mat with a sheet every night on that divan. Right? That divan I had to sleep on it. The board squeezed me go and it squeezed me come. But me couldn't let that bother me. It's by luck I got a pillow. Because for some reason I was able to purchase a pillow. See? And while me purchase that pillow there, me have to think about purchase the sheet them when me fi cover with. Sometimes I spread up the divan. So I draw down the sheet, come down to the part that's where the leg there. Because I don't really want, that was how me left it more time. And I say, guys, I had nothing like a stove, a fridge, or anything. All I had was one divan that I made 3 pair of shoes in 1992 while I was going to the Leap Training Center, right? I made 3 pair of shoes and I went to Cumberland and I sell those 3 pair of shoes and I gave my father the money. And my father gave a man that was working down by Kingston Wharf named Rat the money to build a divan bed for me. And the man built a solid cedar divan bed. I have that bed until now, right? It is around the room there. And I must say, guys, that bed was the only thing I had, right? I did not have any furniture. And there was a place by the name of Warehouse, close by waterfront. And while I was working and scraping this little meager money, right? This little meager pickings, we're not gonna away. Every week, every fortnight when I get paid, guys, me have to squeeze something out tight and went down to the warehouse and me I do a layaway down there because me I do a layaway upon a thing them called combo rope. Right? It come with a side where you hang up closing and with a big tall glass on it. The other side had a lot of drawers. And I must tell you that when I paid down on that combo rope and get the combo rope, I didn't even have clothes to put in the drawers them that come on the combo rope. I barely had anything to put in that combo rope. Presently, I have two stand here, and I do not throw them away. One is what I have in the kitchen right now that I pop pots on, and the other one is outside there on the veranda. And these were the stands that I had. I didn't have any table or anything, and I spread them up. And they were the things that I put my component set when I buy it on. Because at the time, I was trying my best to have something or achieve something in life, even when I was barely getting any money. I was not making anything. Even when I went to work, guys, I was working hungry. And I was working in my uniform and performing my duty. But I must tell you that while I was working, I was always short of at least one meal. If I ate breakfast, I could not eat lunch. And if I was to eat lunch, I could not eat breakfast. And if I eat lunch and breakfast, I could not eat dinner. And I was a working person. From time to time, when I get some locations to work on where they might provide one little piece of snack, like a little burger or something, at the hours of the night, I was someone who wanted to make sure that I get that duty. Because at the end of the day, I was looking forward to that burger when we can use to put something in my stomach. I was working on people that they eat up them thing, and while they were eating, my mouth was running water. Me dey a place I work, guys, and while me I work, the amount of food the people them a eat, they are eating the food, and in my heart I was like, I should have me a eat that. And I work at the place because guess what? Me can't afford nothing with them a sell there. I cannot buy anything that they are selling there. But I am working there. I am protecting everyone there. Sometimes I say to myself, say, pan a level, if anybody fi come and do anything there or go on with anything, if them touch me, I would have just drop over. Because sometimes hungry, I walk me shut, guys. Hungry had me thumping me left and right, boxing me over. And I was there. And sometimes the way me I work, when me look, or you look on my clothes, you see the white sweat mark out in my shirt because I wasn't a person who did not believe in not doing my duty. I was always there to work because that is what I am there to do. But at the end of the day, I was working and I was suffering, especially when I am working at place which is food establishment, because they do not give you food. And while working there, I could not afford what they sell. I remember working at a place called Bullseye, at Knoxford Boulevard, right? And from time to time, I try my best not to go upstairs. I stayed downstairs by the step where I wanted to monitor everyone that was coming up. But when I had to go upstairs, it was stressful for me. Because when I go upstairs and I smell and see everything that was being prepared up there, and know that I cannot even buy one of the rolls, it was a problem to me. I was working in New Kingston one day and I get bright. Tell myself, so boy, I like how I work, you say, you know, I'm going to start by lunch. Right? Round from a little cook shop thing round on the side, so because I have to eat. Which part may I work up there so I can't cook because which part with there you can't plug in that plate and cook on the people in place. And may I tell you, every day I have to buy the lunch. I couldn't stop at Burger King and buy anything because Burger King was way too much. And at the time, when I pop out $100 for buy a lunch, I couldn't even buy juice. And because of the location that I was working, I continued to buy lunch for the fortnight. And let me tell you something, guys. When I got my pay the fortnight, I had to borrow money to go back to work for the following week. Because when the money that I spent buying lunch to make sure that I was on that duty, right, was taken from my pay, I had to borrow to carry back myself to work. I know that a lot of persons might not even understand or know what I am talking about. And let me tell you, at the same time, because I wanted to be someone whom was response for my own self and destiny, you know what I did? I went and rented a room. And after renting that room, I started hustling. And when me I tell you, say me I hustle while me I work, when me there a certain location, if the location no hustling can go on, me lift up from this, so me find some, put myself in a some problem, make them move me. And me I tell you, say when me buy, me I buy and me I buy. And me realize, say me kinda a bill, that the room I look away. So the room look like somebody living in it. The landlord see say me I buy, and the landlord decides, say, rent raise. When the man say rent raise, I couldn't move because I didn't have nowhere else to go. And at the same time, the place that I rented was very nice. It was a very big bedroom with a little kitchen and a bathroom. And when anyone came where I was, they felt comfortable. You understand me? Because I wanted somewhere that if a female was coming to give me little of the fluff, them can sit in. You understand me? I mean, I tell you, say, to pay the rent, pay the light and water, I had to be working sometime to the point where for the week I was working more than 72 hours for the week. Sometimes for the week, I work 80 or 90 hours just for 1 week, just to make sure say me can pay my bills. Every duty that was offered, me jump on, because the hours, what we were getting per hour was so small and my expense was so great. There was a point where nothing named savings me not have. Because every fortnight, me have to go pay a layaway upon something. Warehouse have my money, A1 have my money, all both me have to pay down upon something. Because I determined and I decided that, listen, I was not going to be working and don't own nothing, I have nothing in life. And I tried my best. To make matters worse, I start get involved with females. And in my mind and heart, I know plain and straight say, you can't just have intercourse and have fun with the people and female and data like that. And there was nothing, you know. I had to start thinking Let me tell you something, guys. I might have not said it ever, but I am going to say it as kindly and as good. The best way I know to say this. I had a lady that was overseas that I was involved with, you know, and this lady was a very hardworking, progressive lady. And while I was here, I was hardworking. I tried my best to work and put myself in a position that she could respect me. And I found out that while doing that, I started attracting the attentions of other females. And I tried my best to acquire furnitures and so on. And this lady loved and cared for me so much that she made sure that she buy certain type of clothes. She furnished me with silk, Calvin Klein and these sort of outfits. And she always made sure that she acquired a indie glow watch for me. And at the end of the day, I really cared about her greatly. And she took sick while at my home in my care. After intercourse, something ruptured down here, and I found myself being so afraid and ashamed. I could not even find money to take the lady from my house in Portmore to the airport so she could fly back overseas and go to the hospital. I wasn't even able to charter a taxi. And the lady was in so much pain, it was as if she was dying. She had to call her parents that sent a car to my house in Portmore. And they immediately took her to the airport and she was flown overseas. And the doctors did their thing, did their surgery and so on. And let me tell you, I felt so ashamed. I felt so ashamed in my life that I stopped talking to the lady. I just cut off all communication because I was so ashamed to know that this lady loved me, cared for me, come to be with me. And why, I not even know why I was, working in that manner. And she brought stuff for my father as well. But when she took sick, I could not say anything to my father. Because my father was broker than me. And she had to be in my room silently, feeling pain, groaning, you know. Even when she was taken to the vehicle, I was like, whoa. Guys, may I tell you, I have been through an aspect of life where this life that I lived, been in, went through is nothing easy. I am a person who has conscience. And after that lady went up and I spoke to her in the hospital, and her mother called me and we spoke, and her mother was like, if you guys had done the wedding, you could have been here at her bedside. I knew that she spoke the truth because the lady showed me love and respect. Her mother was very respectful, her father was very respectful. But for some reason, I believed to myself that I had nothing. I was not in the female league or class, and I do not know what she saw in me, even when I was the one who pursued her, right? And she gave me a chance and started the relationship with me. I we had great times and so on, but when this happened, it shook me to the core. I must tell you that I was even thinking to myself that you ever hear the first thing come to your mind when certain things happen, you start say, you're salt. So I was thinking to myself that, my salt, because listen, we have been together on many occasions, never at my own. We have been in St. Anne and everywhere and rented place and everything, and we were always okay. But for some reason, I felt disappointed in myself, you know, for not being able to even take the lady to the airport. When I look into my situation, if that lady had 10 minutes to get to an emergency room, or else she would have died. I was not even able to get a taxi to take her to the emergency room. The way how I was broke. And she was someone whom I never asked for money. It was never something that I did. I tried to spend whatsoever money I had. When she was coming, I made sure I work and accumulate enough money to spend with her. And she was never someone who shied away from spending what she earned. You understand? But this time in 97 was just not a good time for me. I must tell you that actually you not even know, guys. Every day I think about my past, I have to say respect and appreciation to the females that got involved with me while growing up, showed me love and respect, and gave themselves to me due to the fact that I never had anything to offer, okay, except sex. And some did not mind, okay. I really appreciate you, ladies. Thanks much. Thanks for not letting me feel ashamed in any way, shape, or form. Because none of these ladies has ever said to me that I was not good enough. I was the one who knew within myself that I was not fulfilling my responsibility as a man. I knew that within myself. It's not that I was not fulfilling my responsibilities sexually. No, I didn't have any problem there sexually. But I know that financially, I did not have anything. And I am still here in the same position. It's just that at this time and stage in my life, I was able to make a few smart decisions. You understand me? And it paid off, right? Now, please note, guys, you were here with Dean White, Blind Visioneer, and episode 60 of the Real Talk podcast, where everyone issues seriously matters. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on your post notification bell so that as soon as I do something, guys, you will get it. And please continue to have a wonderful rest of the day, night, evening, or morning. Okay?